please do not come to the United States. We are not the same country we were 4 months ago. It is not safe here anymore. They can pull you off the street. They can detain you. They'll do God knows what to you. They're doing it to our own citizens. They will do it to you. Please do not support American products. Don't buy American. Don't vacation here. I'm very sorry to say this, and I want to apologize on behalf of all rational Americans in this country who are fighting Trump tooth and nail with everything we have. We're sorry. We're doing the best we can to get rid of this guy. And all his crooked cronies, but we're having a very difficult time doing it. We handed him the keys. An ignorant populace handed him the keys to this kingdom, and we're finding it very difficult to even slow him down, frankly. I think America's done. I hate to say that, but I don't know how much we can do, what we can do to slow this guy down. We're trying very hard. Please don't support us anymore. And to my government, my friends in government all over the world who we dealt with in business and for so many years, you guys were so good to us all over the place. You know, France, Australia, the United Kingdom, of course, Canada, of course, Mexico, you know, Costa Rica, Panama, all over Asia. You know, you guys have been wonderful partners to us for years. I'm so sorry Trump is treating you like dirt. Don't expect anything better from him in the future. He's a tyrant. He wants to be a dictator, and frankly, he's turning into one very quickly. Again, we're having a hard time slowing him down. I'm sorry to say that. Please don't trust this guy. If you're working in government, he makes you a promise. His promise is worth nothing. I've known this guy for 30 years. His word is worthless. And that goes for all of his crooked cronies in our GOP that are supporting him. Do not trust this guy. Do not trust. The reason I'm telling you this right now, if you're wondering, is because I'm getting out to a couple million people on social media a week now, and he's going to shut me down. He's shutting friends of mine down. He's threatening my friends that have millions and millions of viewers on social media, that are rational thinking people. He's threatening them within an inch of their life. He's going after them for taxes. He's going after them for any way he can. And I'm afraid it's going to continue, and I won't be able to say this, so I'm saying it now. Do not trust anything American at this point. We are not the same country. I don't know that we ever will be. Again, apologies from America. You guys have been so great to us, and we're so sorry.
Hot take that's not really a hot take. This 2026 World Cup in America will be the biggest shit show in all of sport history and in World Cup history. We're going to have everyone in the stands. It's going to be like looking like this. Corporate American people are going to be like, dude, soccer, they should kick it and go team go. And if they score, is it 3 points? Is it a 3-pointer? These guys have never kicked ball. They never watched football in their life. They don't understand the sport. What is offsides? Why is he... can they sub on the fly? Dude. And then every stadium's going to look like this. Like, the goals are not going to be proper football goals at all. Like, it literally is going to look like this. Like, how embarrassing. Literally, this is what... We're going to have rolled goals in the grounds. Rolled goals. This is not it. It's just, oh my gosh. And then on top of that, there was a preseason friendly in Boston, Massachusetts, where it was like 65 degrees. They had cooling breaks because these players that play over in Europe at the highest level, they're not used to this being this hot. And the months that it's going to be in America are the hottest months in North America, where it's going to be upwards of 100 degrees. That's like 40, 50 degrees Celsius. Ticket prices are crazy. America's crazy. I don't see how this is going to be, like, even enjoyable. Camera angles are going to suck. This World Cup is going to be trash, man.
What the fuck is this FIFA World Cup that's coming in a couple of days? Like, is Atlanta even ready? No, Atlanta is not ready because for the last couple of weeks, I would say the last couple of months for real, that's when they just now started working on the damn roads. They shut down highways, everybody on the back roads. It's really finna be bad, y'all. Like, and then... they saying this shit's supposed to last for a whole month. Traffic is going to be terrible. I just don't think Atlanta was the right place. But we do have one of the best stadiums, I guess, that's out here in the U.S. But please, take that shit back to Canada or Mexico, wherever it was.
The whole world is coming to America. And America is not ready. The 2026 World Cup, the biggest sporting event on the planet, billions of eyeballs, dozens of nations, the fans who have saved their whole lives to make this trip, and they're flying into cities where they'll be expected to walk on highways because there are no sidewalks. They'll pay $150 just to get from the train to the stadium, and they'll be watching games at a venue surrounded by nothing but 47 acres of parking lot. This is not a sports story. This is a mirror, and it shows us again, it's ugly. See, FIFA just didn't expose America's broken infrastructure. It exposed who this country actually builds for, and it is not the working person trying to get to a game on public transit. It's the ticket scalper, the copper suit, the guy who can drop $1,000 on a single match. If it had of a system that constantly tells you you are the problem.
So the U.S. is not ready for the World Cup, to no one's surprise, and it's on multiple fronts. One of those fronts is that the U.S. government has yet to release the $600+ million it promised host cities for security, specifically. That lack of funding for security has made it so host cities are canceling their fan fest. And if you don't know what a fan fest is a free location that's open to the public with large screens for people to watch the games who don't have tickets to the game in a host city. It's an environment, it's exciting, you get to meet people, it's just a whole vibe. And that's supposed to be open for fans, but that's not going to happen because the government hasn't released the funding. The next front, our tourism is down. Our international tourism is down $12 billion since Trump has taken office. People are not willingly coming here nearly as much as they would. And therefore, the number of tourists coming for the World Cup is half of what was originally projected would be here. That's making it so hotels have to release rooms that they were holding for international tourists for the World Cup specifically, to have to now put those rooms back on the market. And it's hard for them because now that those rooms have been held, they now have to tell all the websites and all the booking agencies, hey, these rooms are available again. Please put my room back up. So it's very frustrating for the hotels because the rooms they were holding, assuming they were going to get international tourists, now have to be put back on the market for more domestic tourism if it actually comes. The other issue is that Infantino decided to make the mistake of believing the lies. Infantino is a European who's living, I believe, in the Middle East, not understanding the reality of the United States, or he was lied to by the politicians here when they were figuring out who was going to host the World Cup between Mexico, Canada, and United States. Infantino was under the impression Americans would pay to see the World Cup. He was under the impression that we don't need the international market like we normally do in the U.S. He was wrong, and for multiple reasons. Number one, U.S. fans do not care about football like that. Or soccer rather. We're not soccer fans here. That's just fact of the matter. We are not major soccer fans here. Number two, the assumption that U.S. has the money. Yes, the U.S. is the richest country, but we are broke. We're like in Equatorial Guinea. We are broke. Okay, people are broke. People do not have money here in the States to spend on things like the World Cup. Okay, because they have to buy groceries and pay for gas, which is on the rise. So we don't get paid a lot of money. So the United States tourism for the World Cup is not going to be what Infantino assumed it was. This extends further. Even the rich people aren't coming. Right now, of the 104 games, there are still selective box booths, those rich booths where people pay a lot of money to have a nice little box to themselves. There's still 102 of the 104 games. There's still rooms available in 102 of them, meaning most of the games, the rich people haven't booked those nice, beautiful skyboxes where they can watch the game comfortably, which is a big problem, which means a lot of that revenue that's normally supposed to come for FIFA is not coming in for the games. This is on the fault of so many people on top, and this was so avoidable on so many levels. Had Trump not been attacking countries on the tariffs, had he not been verbally attacking countries, had he not attacked Iran, had Infantino looked at the reality and priced these games appropriately, there are so many things that could have been different that are probably, had they not gone with these ICE raids for no reasons and then kicking out people, now they're asking for 5 years of visitors online activity. This is giving North Korea, this is giving like control over everything. No one wants to go through that, especially being told that, oh, I spent thousands of dollars, but now I'm getting sent back home because I had a character caricature of the US president as a baby, that's insane. I'm not wasting my money like that, and that's not something that should be happening in the US because we have freedom of speech. So all that being said, the US is not at the advantage with the World Cup like they thought they were going to be. I don't know what comes from it at this point. So the World Cup is going to be something. I just don't know if it's going to be any good. Y'all have a great day. The United States is the problem here. People are making fun of Europeans who are coming here for the World Cup, thinking that they can walk to the MetLife Stadium, but we're the problem. People aren't understanding this. The idea that you have a major sporting event location that doesn't have pedestrian infrastructure is unheard of for every rich nation in Europe, Africa, and Asia. This doesn't make sense. If you have a stadium for official sanctioned sporting events, why is there no pedestrian infrastructure or public transit to that location? It doesn't make sense to anyone other than an American. And the reason why I say this is because for all these rich nations, major cities have public transit. Major cities, usually the stadiums are just sitting in the city. You can easily walk to it, take a bus, take a trolley, take a train, easy to get to, okay? Even some medium-sized cities have these in other countries. You just have a train, trolley, bus right to the location, or you can walk from your hotel. The idea that a major stadium like MetLife doesn't have like tourist infrastructure around it to get there easily, normally, easy walk path and all that is not reasonable. The US is the problem. The idea that in 20 years since we last hosted the World Cup, we haven't upgraded any of our systems. People complained last time, how come we can't get around? How come there are no buses? They were walking in the middle of the street outraged at what was going on, and we haven't updated. No one would think in 20 years we wouldn't have updated our infrastructure for pedestrians and tourists and public transit. China built an entire highway, an entire high-speed rail system throughout the country in that span of time. And we couldn't just add more buses and some more sidewalks. That's crazy. No one would think of this. That's not reasonable. We are the problem. We're in the bad place. We are in the bad place. I'm going to say that twice because no one from a major city in a richer nation, I'm going to, say that again because that's what we call them, would think that this would be the reality. And even dumber still, the idea that you say the game is in New York, but it's actually in New Jersey, that doesn't make sense to anyone. It doesn't make sense to anyone else. Then it's not a New York game, it's a New Jersey game. But New Jersey doesn't have the infrastructure for the tourism, doesn't have the amount of hotels they would need for that particular stadium, which is not reasonable. And then you're going to charge an arm and a leg for people to take the one train that gets you there. And then if you're in New Jersey, you get charged an arm and a leg for the buses to get you there. And especially that alone, why is a rich nation charging us to catch a bus? Why is a rich nation charging us more to catch a train? It should just be the regular prices, but Americans don't understand it. We are in the bad place. We are the problem. But that's my soapbox. Y'all have a good day, because this World Cup is going to be something. FIFA's getting subpoenaed because of ticket prices. So the attorney generals of New York and New Jersey both have said, yo, why are these ticket prices so high? So they've gone to FIFA officially like, y'all need to explain yourselves, because New York and New Jersey were trying to get as much money as they could because they were thinking a crush of tourists were going to come and it was going to stimulate their economies. But they're not coming. The hotel bookings are way under, even for normal summer travel, the hotel bookings are under. The ticket sales are actually under. And so they're like, even domestically, it's not just internationally, even domestic tourists can't afford these prices. So if people, just so you know, North Jersey is where MetLife Stadium is, closer to New York, right? New York City. So people in Central Jersey, South Jersey, Pennsylvania, Connecticut, some upstate New York that aren't that far away from this stadium can't afford to go. And Jersey and New York are like, what's going on? FIFA's talking about, the prices are high because of demand. Girl, no, because we all know that's a lie, because the ticket sales are down. They even said the across the nation, by the way. So ticket sales are low. Even in the opening matches, the United States opening match for FIFA is still not sold out. And they said there are a lot of seats still available. So it's like, no, it's not a demand thing. And New York, New Jersey are hosting 8 games in the finals, and none of their games have sold out yet. So they're like, it's not demand, y'all are lying. The other consideration is that people who have bought tickets had their tickets changed. I don't know what that's about. Like, apparently they originally had maps that put people in certain areas, like good seats, and then after people bought tickets, they changed the maps. I wouldn't buy a ticket too if I found out that happened to somebody. So this is the craziness that's going on, and this is fully FIFA's fault. This isn't the United States messing up. This is FIFA messing up. And I don't know why Infantino was under the impression that we didn't need the international crowd to house these games, to people these games. We did need the international crowd. But Infantino's in his own little fantasy world that the richest country in the world, the United States, somehow make sure its citizens can afford sporting events they don't really care about. And then people are trying to argue on previous posts like, Americans did care about soccer. And I'm like, no, we don't. There are plenty of people here from other places. There are plenty of immigrants and children. There are not enough immigrants of children making enough money to spend $1,000 on these games. And even if they did have that money, just the sheer travel costs in the United States are through the roof. We don't have trains that travel at a decent speed, like better than the 1970s. We don't have that. So the idea that somehow Americans are going to go out their way, take off of work and everything to go to the games is stupid. I'm not trying to be mean or anything. Americans don't care for this particular sport. And I'm not saying that, it's a bad sport. No, I am very much saying the opposite. But Americans don't care for this sport. So this whole idea that Americans could just pay these prices was really ill-informed. And I don't know if Infantino was led astray or if he just went with assumptions. But they are being subpoenaed either way. Will this go anywhere? I don't know. And I will stress again, the World Cup is going to be something. I don't know if it's going to be good, but it shall be something. Y'all have a good day.
How is it that in the 2 years America is hosting the biggest, most well-known sporting events the world has ever seen, the World Cup in 2026 and the Olympics in 2028, while we have arguably one of the worst governmental administrations this nation has ever seen? How did that align? How did that work out that way? We barely have the infrastructure to survive as citizens, and we're going to see an influx of millions of people come in for the World Cup and for the Olympics during arguably one of the worst administrations this country has ever seen. That's a sick cosmic joke. That's a sick cosmic joke. Confirmation Mal. Exactly. Double confirmation Mal. That's a sick cosmic joke. Nelly for president. She'll whip everyone into shape. 3 out of 10 stinky. I have to give her a stink scale so she knows how much she has to bathe. Anyway, that's it. Just thinking about that. Bye.
I can tell you why Europeans think they're going to be able to walk to the stadiums for the World Cup, and it's because the area around their stadiums looks like this. They are walkable, they're accessible via public transit, and the area around the stadiums is full of little restaurants and bars and shops and things to do before and after the games. Versus when you look at American stadiums, they are pretty much all just surrounded by giant parking lots. Huge ones, like the European mind cannot comprehend the kind of parking lots that surround our stadiums. I just got back from a week in Europe. It was my first time there ever, and I was already a big transit person, but it's honestly so much more than just that. The way that the cities are designed there feels so much more human focused and human sized rather than car focused. I knew, but I didn't know. So for Europeans, I can imagine how insane it would be to come to America and learn that the stadiums are surrounded by nothing but parking lots and there's only one or maybe no train at all that actually serves the stadium. Oh, and as an extra bonus, they're going to charge you $150 to take the train out to the stadium. We need to talk about that too, because the reasoning behind why that's happening is honestly insane. When FIFA and the US agreed to hosting back in 2018, there was a requirement of free transit, and so FIFA was gonna kick in money for that. But then FIFA removed that requirement in 2023, and so they are not contributing any money towards transit. They're expecting so many people, like double the normal amounts, that they're literally cutting off the trains for commuters completely, which is kind of a pain in the butt for the people who live in New York. And they're also creating an entirely new bus service just for this. So it means way more personnel and way more security. The whole thing is just insane, and between them and LA, the World Cup is a very clear example of why we need better public transit in America. It just makes things so much easier for the people traveling in for big events like this, and also for the people who have to live in the city around it.
Hey friends, so anyone else who lives in Atlanta feel like Atlanta is not prepared for the World Cup, to be in just a few days? Like, I'm looking around the city and Atlanta's current level of preparation for the World Cup feels like that of a student who is writing their paper at 11:45 that is due at midnight that they've known about all semester. That's what it feels like. Like, I don't know if this is what it felt like when the Olympics was coming here. Like, it's distinctly, they're still trying to get things done, but you know it's not going to be done by the time everybody begins to come here. It just does not feel like this is the city that is going to be hosting many World Cup games. It's not giving that. It's not giving that. It's giving unprepared, right? We're seeing what's happening with MARTA, and they have some setbacks, and we already know that our highways and byways are shit shows. There are Waymos all over the place. I don't know what the Waymos are going to do with the new, increased visitors traffic. I just feel like Atlanta is not ready for the World Cup. And this, despite the fact that people are like, oh, I heard a lot of people aren't coming to the World Cup. And I'm like, yeah, that's what we heard. But I feel like when people spend their money, they're going to be here, right? It's going to be more than we usually have, which is enough for a city that consistently talks about we're full, right? Any amount of visitors we have is going to make us feel even fuller. Even if only 1,500 people come here for the World Cup, it's going to feel like 1,500 more than our city can actually manage. So yeah, I don't know. Does anybody else feel this way? Like, we're just not ready. Like, it just feels like it. It really feels like we're not ready. And I feel sorry for anybody who really lives very close to all this action. I feel for you if you're going to be in town.
Good people, let me paint you a picture. You're a football fan, let's say from Senegal or Colombia or Japan. You've been dreaming about this World Cup your whole life. You said for years you booked your flights, you got your tickets, or you tried to. Because when you went to buy them, the prices hit you like a freight train. $1,000 per game. And that's before the hotel, before the food, before the $150 train ticket just to reach the stadium. A stadium that, by the way, has no sidewalks around it. Welcome to the 2026 FIFA World Cup, hosted by the United States of America. Now, here's the situation. The US, Canada, and Mexico are co-hosting the biggest sporting event in human history. 48 teams, millions of fans, and cities like Atlanta, New York, Dallas, and Los Angeles are supposed to show the world what America is made of. The official narrative? It's going to be incredible. Economic boom, tourism surge, national pride. But the closer we get, the messier this looks. The attorney generals of New York and New Jersey have actually subpoenaed FIFA, demanding answers about why ticket prices are so astronomical that even local fans can't afford to go. No tourists, local fans. People from Pennsylvania, Connecticut, upstate New York, priced out of a tournament happening in their own backyard. And FIFA's response is demand drive. Except many of these matches ain't even sold out. The US opening game not sold out. So what demand exactly are we talking about? Now, here's what nobody in mainstream sports media wants to say. America was not designed for events like this. Not physically, not politically, not culturally. European stadiums sit inside cities. You walk out of your hotel, grab a coffee, stroll through a neighborhood, and you are at the match. The city breathes around it. That's what billions of people around the world expect from a World Cup experience. American stadiums, MetLife Stadium in New Jersey, which is hosting games being marketed as New York games, by the way, is surrounded by one of the largest parking lots in the world. There are no sidewalks, no restaurants, no bars, no public squares, just asphalt. Miles of it. Getting there is by transit, one train line, potentially cut off during the tournament to manage the crowd. Fans who'd use it might pay $150 for a single trip. Meanwhile, Atlanta, another host city, has a transit system called MATA that is currently facing its own setbacks, and the city sits in one of the worst highway corridors in North America. While China built thousands of miles of high-speed rail in the last decade, America's train infrastructure hasn't meaningfully improved since the 1970s. That's not a logistics problem. That's a values problem. Think about this from the ground level. You're a working class soccer fan in Atlanta. Maybe you grew up watching the US MNT with your dad. Maybe you're an immigrant from Ghana or Guatemala and football is in your blood. You don't fly business class, you take matter to work. You were genuinely excited the World Cup was coming to your city. Then the tickets dropped and you couldn't even get close. Now that's the crisis that a lot of Americans are talking about right now concerning the whole issue to do with the World Cup 2026 in the United States of America. What do you think about it? Tell me in the comments. This is the Diaspora View, and we're just getting started.